This is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water. Trust me, I'm like a smart person. I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius. I had the best words. Tolerate it. I know words. Mike Pounds. I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation. But there's no better word than stupid. Anonymous, really anonymous. I'm very highly educated. One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water. Had the best words. God bless the United States.
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. Boy, it seems to be a little bit of an eventful day going on today. So, look, obviously, we've got a situation going on in the Capitol right now. I'm going to talk about that. I've got video for you guys. That's why we, by the way, why it took so long to get on the air. I wanted to get all that video up there so that I can condense it, edit it down, and show you exactly what's going on. We've got, of course, video from the Stop the Steal rally that happened before all this. We also have, we're going to talk about Georgia. We've got Donald Trump melting down on Twitter. We've got, we've got James Comey. We've got the Republican Civil War. All this stuff, everything is going insane. And so I'm going to talk about this. Let's do it. Let's start out with the insane Trump coup that's going on right now. All right. Supporters of outgoing President Donald Trump have invaded the Capitol. No, I'm not kidding. Literally, they've invaded the Capitol building, and they've been inside. There's a lockdown going on here. So this is all breaking news, okay? And so by the time this comes out on YouTube, there's probably going to be a lot more developments. But right now, things are going insane. So now right now, I'm going to show you some video here of what I've seen going on in the Capitol. It's craziness. These are Trump supporters first, clashing with police in the Capitol and then literally getting into the Capitol building. So let's take a look.
How you doing, pepper spray? Fucking pussy! Fucking pussies! Let's go! Let's go, hey, let's go, let's go. Finally get down.
All right, so that's just some of the video there's a lot more out there. But let me just say this: it's quite insane what's going on here. This feels like a literal coup attempt. Okay, and again, this is after Donald Trump had promised to lead the crowd to the Capitol. He didn't, by the way. Donald Trump fucked off immediately. He's gone. Okay, he's nowhere in sight. He's like hiding in the bunker now. All right, I don't know if it's a literal bunker. I don't know where he is, but he is not at the Capitol building. All right, so now obviously there are people talking about gunshots. There are threats of mob violence. You had, for example, Virginia Representative Elaine Luria, who's a Democrat, said that her office had received a bomb threat, and she could hear multiple gunshots. And yet Trump, even though he fucked off to the bunker, here's what he's saying on Twitter. Okay, this is one of his first tweets while this is going down. Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving a states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not fraudulent or inaccurate ones, which they were asked to previously certify. USA demands truth. Again, this is all based on bullshit. There's no evidence, again, no evidence of widespread voter fraud. He's saying, oh, the election is stolen, but he's literally trying to do that. He is literally trying to steal an election right now. And he's got his mob, literal mob, invading the Capitol building in order to make it happen. I mean, it's just, all right, there's more. As reports emerged of guns drawn in the House chamber, and by the way, they got into the House chamber, okay? They're literally in the House, okay? And Trump did say this: please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful. Did that look like peace to you? Did that look like peace to you? Now, I know, like, there is reports of pepper spray. There is reports of tear gas in that area. Okay, and so you could say, well, I mean, at least they're doing that, right? But at the same time, like, you still don't see half as much reaction to these, terrorists, basically, invading the Capitol building as you would see at a Black Lives Matter rally or a Black Lives Matter, like march, okay? And so, but nonetheless, this has caused Democratic Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser to order a citywide curfew lasting from 6 p.m. tonight, of course, to 6 a.m. on Thursday. So I don't know what's going on here. There's a lot of reports here coming in from you guys as well. So let me read some of those reports coming in from you guys that apparently there are deaths that are being reported. Donald Trump's enabling it. There's a woman that had been shot. It's a man sitting in Nancy Pelosi's office. By the way, everyone in Congress has been like evacuated. They're not there anymore because of this Trump coup. That's what's going on. And again, there's a lot of reports. Again, a lot of what you guys are saying here on the chat here, reporting that a woman had been, again, I'll have to go and double check all this stuff because again, it's reports from on the ground. They're unreliable at best, but man, there's definitely pictures of the man in what is it, a Viking outfit that's screaming Donald Trump won. And this is total insanity. But I don't think that this should be unexpected. And so, and here's why. Again, like Donald Trump has been riling up these people for months and months and months. Okay? He's been saying, oh, it's all a fraud. They're going to steal the election. When he is literally trying to steal an election right now, using his mob of MAGA chuds. All right? That's what's going on here. Okay? Virginia sent the National Guard because Trump blocked the DC Guard. Cops taking selfies with riders inside the building. Again, all this stuff has to be verified, but thank you for like the updates and stuff. But this is what's going on. This is what we were afraid of. This is the Trump coup that's happening right now. Okay, I mean, wow. Just this is the danger of fascism. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Okay, you guys were wondering, oh, when's the fascism going to come? You said that if Donald Trump was going to get, got elected, that we were going to have fascism. Where's the fascism? This is the fascism. That's it. That right there, it is right in front of your face, right in front of your eyes. You can see it, and it's all based on a lie. It's all based on lies, on bullshit, on a cult of personality, and of a Republican Party, by the way, who wouldn't stand up for against it. Okay, and Republican voters who are completely and utterly brainwashed by conservative media and by Trump himself. It is a cult of personality here. And so, you remember how I keep saying, hey, look, these people are here, and they're not going away. We're going to have to do something. Yeah, because if we don't, and I'm not saying like we should do something violent to them, right? That's not what I'm saying. We have to do something to deprogram them and bring them back to reality, or else we get more of this. And this is not what we want. All right. Let's go to some good news. And don't worry. What I want to do throughout the show here is I do want to go back and get more, of the breaking news, and report it as we know it. All right. With that said, let's get back into the other stuff. Some good news here. Okay. We did it, folks. And by we, I mean all the organizers, all the other groups of Black women activists, Stacey Abrams, the people who did the actual work, and which has nothing to do with me. They just turned Georgia blue. Now, the tireless work of all these wonderful people just sent Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue packing, and Mitch McConnell into the minority, the thing that, of course, he hates being the most. All right. So now Warnock is the actually first Black person elected to represent Georgia in the Senate. Will be the only one of 3 Black people in the Senate once his term begins. Ossoff would be the youngest member of the Senate. John Ossoff is younger than I am. I am older than John Ossoff. Man, do I feel old. Holy shit. Little bit of millennial representation here. I just hope that it's progressive millennial representation. All right, so now Decision Desk HQ had projected Ossoff to win. I think that's now official. And then, of course, you had Warnock that was called earlier today, or was it last night? I believe it was last night. But now Georgia officials are still, counting the remaining votes, but it's enough to where Ossoff and Warnock are going to the Senate. So now it appears that Black women just saved us from Mitch McConnell, and specifically from him stonewalling us for the next 4 years, which is nice. It's almost like progressive women of color are the backbone of the Democratic Party or something, and maybe the party should focus on, improving the material conditions of that group, as well as others. The same. But we're going to see if that happens, because there are obviously some hurdles here. Because what would happen is that the Senate will have a 50-50 split, right? So you've got Vice President-elect Kamala Harris that will serve as a tiebreak vote. Now, Mitch McConnell could still do things to block it, to require 60 votes for basically anything. And of course, in order to fight against that, well, you would have to blow up the filibuster. So there's a couple of things they could do: blow up the filibuster, as I said, or pass things through budget reconciliation. So that would make sure that certain things that qualify for budget reconciliation are able to get by with a simple majority. Now, the problem with that, of course, is that a simple majority is not guaranteed, because guess what? You have libs, liberals, so-called liberals, Democrats, like Doug Jones, and, well, Joe Manchin. So, again, Mitch McConnell is minority leader. That gives Democrats control of the government. And so they're going to have a much harder time, and this is the best part, they're going to have a much harder time blaming Republicans for things not getting done, because I just laid out several ways that Democrats could be able to get around Republican blockage of bills. Like, for example, stimulus, right? There's no reason that Biden couldn't pass a $2,000 stimulus checks once he gets into power. I mean, that's extremely popular. Even Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue ran on this. They agreed with it. And so the thing is that presents a problem for Democrats. If they don't do it, they've got no one to blame but themselves. More specifically, as I mentioned, conservative Democrats like Joe Manchin and Doug Jones. Now, you guys remember that the entire GOP strategy in this race, in this runoff, was socialism bad, lefties bad, radical liberals. But none of that mattered to the voters. The voters were like, well, look, Warnock and Ossoff, well, they want to improve the material conditions of us during a pandemic, of the American people. Yeah, I'm going to vote for that. I'm not going to vote for the party for Mitch McConnell's, for Mitch McConnell to stay in control of the Senate and not do $2,000 stimulus checks. And, Warnock and Ossoff, to give them credit, they ran on this. They took it and they ran. They did not run on Orange Man bad. They ran on civil rights, voting rights, and stimulus checks. That kind of proves that progressives couldn't be positioned any better to make our case to the public than right now. All right. Again, Donald Trump is leaving, but coronavirus is still here. People need relief more than ever. To not give aid to the people with control of the government would be a monumental failure to act on anything and everything that was promised if Democrats got into power. And progressives, we need to be ready to be the alternative, right? Because look, you can't blame McConnell anymore. You can't say, Mitch McConnell, they blocked our checks. No, it was Joe Manchin that blocked your checks. So guess what? Let's primary Joe Manchin. Guess what? I happen to know somebody, Paula Jean Swearingen. She's a real progressive who would actually fight for that stuff. This would be both the Democrats' greatest opportunity and biggest nightmare, because now they'll actually be expected to do something for the American people. And if they don't, well, they got no one else to blame. And we can primary them, because guess what? All eyes are on the Democrats right now. Make no mistake, this is actually bad for the establishment. Rhetorically, it's also amazing for us, because now we've just eliminated their best talking point for an inaction. It's gone now. Gone. What about Trump, though? What about Mitch? Trump's gone. Mitch is the minority. He's minority Mitch now. All right? And so, not anymore. You cannot say we can't do anything because of Republicans. Not anymore. Not anymore. Guess what? It's our time. All right? And we need to hold Democrats to account if and when they fail to do what they promised to do. Now, Joe Biden did recently come out and said earlier today, that's one of our first priorities, is getting out those stimulus checks. But there's always caveats to it. Joe Biden did not give an exact figure and said, well, I'm in favor of that, but I don't know what we're going to ultimately decide on. So there is always a possibility for Democrats to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. That said, right, if they do happen to do that, then we need to have primary challengers at the ready, funded, and with a messaging machine, as well as a volunteer base at their back and ready, so that the establishment, the Democrats, can no longer hide behind Republican obstruction. We'll see what happens. All right. Moving on. We got tweets of rage here. Outgoing President Donald Trump is not coping well with his own losses and the loss of Georgia to the Democratic Party, and decided to go on an angry Twitter rant about how Mike Pence should steal the election for him. Now, Mike Pence ultimately did not do this. Nonetheless, here's what he talked about. He said states want to correct their votes, which they now know were based on irregularities and fraud. That's wrong. Plus corrupt processes. Never received legislative approval. Again, wrong. All Mike Pence has to do is send them back to the states and we win. Do it, Mike. This is a time for extreme courage. Yes. Why are you not doing this?
Mike Pounds.
Why? Why are you not doing this? Oh, it's because he doesn't have the power to do it. He has no power. It's insane that the President of the United States listens to OAN and Newsmax, for one, okay? And it's insane because, as a result, he has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. No fucking clue whatsoever. Mike Pence has no power to send back states' electoral college votes. His only there is a formality in order to count them. His job is to announce the final totals. And that's what he did. That's it. And of course, right now, Congress is like, well, I mean, they would be right now if Trump supporters weren't literally invading the State House, the Capitol building right now. Okay. They would be in session certifying these results. Now, of course, you have these pro-Trump Republicans, you know, that are pushing back against that. And so they're saying we object to the certification. And so now they have to take a couple hours to debate and then come back and then reject that, you know, challenge to the certification of results. And they're just going to keep doing this. They're just going to keep dragging this out. And again, that's what would be happening right now had Trump supporters not stormed into the Capitol building right now. Okay. So now, it's funny though, there is one interesting thing about this that is kind of funny when you think about it, is that the President of the United States does not know what the Vice President does. Doesn't know what his job is. That's embarrassing. That's incredibly embarrassing. And yet he doesn't even know his own job too. He also doesn't know the laws, which is why he keeps breaking them. Remember, right now he's encouraging basically a coup here, and also this is after he tried to browbeat a Republican Secretary of State to give him 11,780 votes that he did not earn. Here's a follow-up tweet to that, by the way. He said the Republican Party, more importantly, our country needs the presidency more than ever before. The power of the veto. Which, by the way, the last thing he tried to veto, the defense budget, was overridden. So, no, Congress can override you because it's that whole thing of checks and balances that the president has no idea exists. Still, even though they've been using checks and balances against him, at least in the case of the Defense Department. All right. But here's the thing. It's over. Donald Trump is going to leave on the 20th, one way or the other. Democrats will control the House and the Senate. Mike Pence is now probably going to be the most hated politician. In fact, he's already lashed out at Mike Pence on Twitter. And so, I mean, the rioting going on in the Capitol right now by Trump supporters, if it weren't for that, I'd say this would be a pretty good start to 2021. You know? It's almost as if good things could actually maybe happen again. Oh my God, what is this feeling? What is it? Is this a ray of sunshine coming up over the bleak wasteland? Is that what's happening? Because I don't know. It must be a trick. It must be an illusion. Something is gonna fuck it up. I don't know. Am I capable of not being cynical? Don't know. I mean, what I can tell you, MAGA's in full reactor meltdown. The Trump Death Star has been destroyed. Democrats can no longer hide behind Mitch McConnell as an excuse to not get things done. Believe me, we will be pointing out every Democrat that refuses to take bold action and set them up for a primary challenge. That is the work that will come next after all of this is over. But until then, I mean, let's take the win where we can, and just worry about what's going to happen with the Trump supporters that are, currently having a little bit of a coping problem with their loss. All right. Move on. I do want to show you some of the Save America rally. There's a lot. There's a lot here. So let's dive into it, and then once we're done, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna go and look at all the breaking news, and then we'll do an update on what's going on in the Capitol right now. So I know y'all are keeping me updated. I appreciate that, and I'm gonna get everything together here after this next story. All right. Republicans earlier today held a Save America rally, and it was full of unmitigated cringe. Here's a little taste.
Now, if they ran such a clean election, why wouldn't they make all the machines available immediately? If they ran such a clean election, they'd have you come in and look at the paper ballots. Who hides evidence? Criminals hide evidence, not honest people. So, over the next 10 days, we get to see the machines that are crooked, the ballots that are fraudulent, and if we're wrong, we will be made fools of. But if we're right, a lot of them will go to jail. So, let's have trial by combat. I'm willing to stake my reputation. The president is willing to stake his reputation on the fact that we're going to find criminality there.
No, you're not. Because there is no evidence of criminality there. Again, they keep saying these things over and over and over again. They're whipping people up into a frenzy. And then, and then you get people storming into the Capitol building. Okay, that's what's happening. And so Rudy Giuliani, 100% cringe on that. But I also want to show you another video here, and this is of other speakers at this same event.
Today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking ass.
We're not going to complain. We're not going to cry in the streets. We're not going to go sit in. You're going to see us.
Ladies and gentlemen, the best is yet to come.
Without looting? No, and it should be a message to all the Republicans who have not been willing to actually fight. The people who did nothing to stop this steal. This gathering should send a message to them. This isn't their Republican Party anymore. This is Donald Trump's Republican Party. You have an opportunity today. You can be a hero, or you can be a zero.
My friends, I want you to chant with me so loud that the cowards on Washington, D.C. that I serve with can hear you.
All right, so, yeah, there's a bit of that. A little cringe, actually a lot cringe, and actually pure unmitigated copium going on right here. And again, the thing that they talked about was Mike Pence coming in to save the day to, quote unquote, expose the Democrats or hand the election to Donald Trump. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. And I'm pretty sure Mike Pence was thinking, holy shit, I did not sign up for this. All I wanted to do was just deny women bodily autonomy. I didn't expect to help Trump's dumb shit clown coup. And now you have Trump supporters that are just absolutely enraged by this. So mad again that they are currently doing terroristic actions like they've invaded the Capitol building. So you've got the police, you've got a lockdown, you've got police, you've got pepper spray, you've got tear gas, you've got the FBI that's coming in, and so a lot of this stuff is just, it's unprecedented. I did not think that this was going to happen. I'm getting reports of the DC National Guard coming in, and all of this stuff happened right after this rally. So this rally, the only thing there was to really kind of like whip up the crowd. And speaking of whipping up the crowd, now we go to what Donald Trump had said. Here's a collection of some of that.
All of us here today do not want to see our election victory stolen by emboldened radical left Democrats, which is what they're doing, and stolen by the fake news media. That's what they've done and what they're doing. We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved. You could take third world countries. Just take a look. Take third world countries. Their elections are more honest than what we've been going through in this country. It's a disgrace. Do me a favor. Go back 8 weeks. I want to go back 8 weeks. Let's go back 8 weeks. I helped Mitch get elected. I helped. I could name 24 of them, let's say. I won't bore you with it. No, it's amazing. The weak Republicans, they're pathetic Republicans, and that's what happens. What we have to go through, and you have to get your people to fight. And if they don't fight, we have to primary the hell out of the ones that don't fight. You primary them, and then late in the evening or early in the morning, boom, these explosions of bullshit. And all of a sudden,
ironic. Chanting bullshit. Well, that's exactly what you just heard from pretty much all of the speakers that I have put on the screen. Okay? All complete and utter bullshit that is just riling up the crowds, fomenting, basically violence that is happening. And again, they believed every single word. They believe him. That there are people right now, again, storming the Capitol that are fighting, that are being hurt, that are killing people over this. Now, I thought the left was supposed to be violent. That's what right-wing media tells me. Oh, watch out for BLM. Watch out for Antifa. They're the violent, radical left. Really? What's happening right now? What's happening right now? Oh, no. You don't understand. Those guys are good patriots. They're here to protect the Constitution. That's what they're here to do. No, they're not. They're literally tearing it up. They're tearing it up. I mean, come on. Everything the Republicans call the left is projections. Okay, it's projection. BLM protests, by the way, BLM protests because black men are getting shot and killed by police when they are unarmed. Okay, and the police are not being held accountable for it. All right. The man who was shot, by the way, who shot and paralyzed Jacob Blake, shot him 7 times in the back as he was walking to his car. Guess what? He won't get charged. Police shoot and kill and maim and injure black men. And yet, they're not held accountable. Trump supporters, right-wingers, they get the opposite treatment. All right? No officers, by the way, in the death of Breonna Taylor were charged with the killing. The only charges that were there were because one of the officers hit the walls. That's a legitimate reason to be angry and to protest. But the right wing, they're mad because their God King lost a legitimate election. No evidence of voter fraud. Trump's been rejected at every turn by both Democrats and Republican officials alike because all he has is conspiracies. But he's also got something they don't. He has the backing of a very large cult of people. Okay, these are people that have been brainwashed. His supporters, they're filled with propaganda. They are not the silent majority, by the way. They're neither silent nor are they the majority. The real silent majority is to have the country that didn't vote. But these people, they're in another reality, and some of them are ready to die and kill for it. Can you imagine feeling that way? I couldn't imagine feeling that way for any politician, much less Donald Trump. No, total and absolute cringe. All right, I'm going to take a quick break here. I'm going to, check out the latest reports, read some donos here and some comments as well from you all. We will do that in just a minute. Around the nation.
Last night.
Welcome back to the show. Around the Nation right here, Waldorf Nation. All right, so there's a lot of stuff going on, but I'm trying to keep up with things. So I'm gonna check the Twitter here and see if there are any updates on that, and of course, also gonna check some of the news sites that we have. So one thing that there is to report is that they found 2 explosive devices that were disarmed by law enforcement, pipe bombs. So they're planning. Oh no, but it's the left and it's Antifa that's violent. Oh, okay, sure. Wow. Really? Radical left do not bring pipe bombs and guns at their protests. Not the ones in the U.S. True. Very, very true. All right, so start check with the dono here. It says, just imagine if BLM had stormed the Capitol. Never happened. Never happened. Dango Bango says, breaking, multiple officers have been injured. BI SWAT teams. Zach Sherman says, the culmination of 40 years of right-wing media and right-wing politicians lying to gullible people and confirming their biases. True. Very true. I'm going to need a new intro in a couple of weeks. Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's see. We have Ayanna Pressley tweeting, Donald Trump should be immediately impeached by the House of Representatives and moved from office from the United States Senate as soon as Congress reconvenes. It's dangerous and unacceptable. Let's see. Nancy Pelosi's trending here. Apparently there is a dude sitting in Pelosi's desk right now. So let me just go to that here. Let me show you what is going on here. That is yeah, that is the dude just kicking it up on Nancy's desk. Yep. Awesome. So we've got that going on. There, Confederate flags, of course, in the Senate chamber. That's nice. Flag of treason. Glad we're seeing that. Capitol security when there were black protesters on the streets. Yeah, you don't see that. You don't see that right now. So, yeah, that's what's going on. Insane. Clown coup. But it's the dangerous one. Very dangerous. All right. What does this country come to? I don't know. I don't know. Do I have an email address? Yes. I do have an email address. jeffw@tytnetwork.com. So go ahead and use that. Send me story suggestions and stuff. Are we pretending we're a nation? Well, we are, technically. Ivanka called them American patriots. Well, she's wrong. She's wrong. 100%. Those are not patriots. Again, if you were flying the flag of treason, the Confederate flag, you're not a patriotic American. The same. All right. Let's go to James Comey, by the way. Ayanna Pressley kind of kicked off the conversation about impeachment. And so, well, that's kind of related to what James Comey is saying. So let's go to it. Former FBI Director James Comey is facing a little bit of backlash because of what he said earlier today. He thinks that Donald Trump's crimes should be ignored. Well, that's great. Now, in an excerpt from Comey's book, published by The Guardian, which is probably kind of a bad day for this, as Trump supporters have literally stormed the Capitol right now, and are facing off against police, the SWAT team, and all that stuff. And this is egged on by the president and his enablers and his supporters. Here's what he said. He said that President-elect Joe Biden's Attorney General, which would, by the way, has also been named today Merrick Garland. So milquetoast, kind of weak, not a person of color. Not somebody who has any interest, or not interest, I shouldn't say interest, but not any experience with, like, civil rights and justice. Comey said that this person should not pursue a criminal investigation of Donald Trump, no matter how compelling the roadmap left by the special counsel Robert Mueller, or how powerful the evidence strewn across his history of porn stars and financial fraud. So no matter how good of a case you have, Comey does have a case of the worst timing. Every single time, terrible timing. Awful. But he says, although those cases might be righteous in a vacuum, the mission of the next Attorney General must be fostering the trust of the American people. I'm sorry, does the rule of law mean nothing to you anymore? I mean, James Comey, what the fuck? This isn't fucking Benghazi, okay? This guy's an actual criminal. Oh, what crimes did he do, you might ask? Well, start with campaign finance violations. The payoffs to Stormy Daniels, for example, to Barry's story before his election, of which his co-conspirator literally spent time in prison for. Okay, that's not enough for you. How about tax fraud, right? Inflating your assets, deflating your assets. Your assets when it comes to tax purposes, and then in order to that you inflate them order to make them look bigger so that you get more access to loans. How about that, right? How about that? How about, you know, trying to interfere in your own election in order to get it nullified by disenfranchising hundreds of thousands of votes based on no evidence whatsoever? How about that? How about that? That call where you were caught red-handed trying to browbeat a Republican, by the way, Secretary of State, into giving you 11,780 votes that you did not earn. What about that? Is that it? What are you talking? It's the perfect call. It's the perfect call. No, not the perfect call. No, this guy is like shredding the Constitution and using it as toilet paper. All right. And then you've got these assholes that are saying, well, you should only look forward, not backward. Again, Hakeem Jeffries, he actually talked about impeachment. So he said, I'm sorry, but you know, we're only going to look forwards, not backwards. We're not going to do that. Well, right now there's Trump supporters that are violently clashing with police in the Capitol building. They're inside, like they've taken over the DC has been, you know, locked down. Congress has been evacuated. The vice president, who Trump is lashing out at, has been evacuated. So come on. And here's the thing: if Democrats, you railed against this guy for years as the worst imaginable person. I know, I was there. I also railed against him because I do think he's the worst imaginable person. And now you've got dipshit James Comey saying, oh, you know what? No matter how good the evidence we have that he's a terrible person and that he's done crimes, well, let's just let him go. It's fine. Crime. Whatever. No, if any Democrat listens to this and actually does it, they should be primaried. 100%. You know why? Because I actually do believe that we should have a government that is held accountable to the people. And look, I know why. They're afraid of Trump supporters. I understand why. Because of what they're doing right now. But like, I got news for you, James Comey. They're still going to despise you. They are never going to like you. Trump supporters hate you. They do. Trump supporters, you who are hate watching, do you hate Democrats? Do you hate James Comey? Just be honest, right? I know y'all do. Hell, I don't even like most of the Democrats. And I certainly don't like James Comey. So I think I might actually find some agreement there. But like, I'm just saying, like, why would you, as a Democrat, give a shit about what Trump supporters think? I mean, you know, look, unless Trump supporters are on board with making the country better through good policy, all right. But of course, that would make them not Trump supporters. Because, I mean, if you would believe in good policy, then you would come over to the left. Otherwise, I don't give a shit what you think. Guess what? I want to make the material conditions in your life better and the lives of everyone in this country better, even if you're mad about it. And if you are mad about it, I don't care. I'm going to go to bed with a fucking smile. You can count on it. But more bullshit here from Comey. He referenced the 1915 Supreme Court, a Supreme Court ruling from then, arguing that a presidential pardon, so the president can pardon himself, would come across as an admission of guilt, according to The Hill. He said, by pardoning a resigned president, Ford had held Nixon accountable in a way that Trump would not be, even if were he to be pardoned after losing re-election. That might not be enough accountability in Trump's case. Or it may be, especially if local prosecution in New York charges Trump for a legacy of financial fraud. Wait, so, okay, does he actually really believe that Donald Trump, the failed son, who has never faced consequences for anything in his life, anything he has ever done in his life, would now suddenly learn his lesson and become humble? I know. What was it, Suzanne Collins? That made that ridiculous claim. Well, I mean, I didn't vote to impeach Trump because I think he learned his lesson. But he didn't. He didn't learn his lesson. How fucking stupid are you? No, he's never going to learn his lesson. And you know what? You know what this is really about, though? This is about not wanting to hold any president accountable for crimes they committed when they're in office. That's really it. I think that's why Democrats are not in favor of this. Like, why become president if you can't do crime? It's why Democrats won't do it. All right. Now, the Southern District of New York, well, they will do it, or they might do it. I mean, they're certainly gearing up for the case, Cyrus Vance Jr. But like, when the Southern District of New York goes after Donald Trump, you have Democrats that will, and this is, I mean, in 10 years, when President Jake Paul accidentally nukes Ohio because he was on a bender, Donald Trump will be rehabilitated by the same centrist Democrats that rehabilitated George W. Bush. All right. I mean, that's what I see happening. Maybe it's my cynicism at work again. I know. I'm way too cynical. But that's what it is. Well, anyway, I've got some reactions here. One person says, James Comey, please stop saying words in public forever. Thanks. Another person adds, you have to hand it to James Comey. He's consistently good at showing up with a completely wrong take at key moments. We are not hugging this out. Crimes have been committed. Another person adds, James Comey is the last person we want to hear from tonight. If Donald Trump has committed crimes, he should be prosecuted. End of story. And then, of course, you have a CNN legal analyst weighing in on this. Agree with Comey that the mission of the next AG should be fostering the trust of the American people. Okay, that makes sense, right? Yes, you should get the trust of the American people. But then she disagrees by saying the way to do that by utterly ignoring, not even investigating years of potential criminal conduct is not the way to go. All right? 100%. But again, remember, shitlib politicians can't be trusted. Many themselves, for example, Richard Neal, he wanted to hide his taxes. Why? I don't know. Why would you want to hide your taxes? Interesting. Could it be that the members of the Democratic Party also committed financial crimes and going after a sitting president for potential crime? And this isn't even addressing war crimes, by the way. I actually like Obama as a person, right? Barack Obama. Voted for him twice. Would I nail him for war crimes for all the bombs that he dropped in Yemen? Yep. I might like you, but that doesn't mean you're not a war criminal. I know that's a super unpopular take among Democrats, and I get it. But we do need to stop maybe doing the imperialism that we have. It would be nice if we stopped being an imperialist country and dropping bombs on everybody. I mean, if you've seen the picture of the emaciated, 5-year-old Yemeni child that we are helping to, starve that country, you would be against imperialism too. Okay. And so, yes, I am for holding war criminals accountable. I know. And Donald Trump, by the way, would be also on that list because that's another thing that he's done alongside all the personal and financial corruption and crimes that he has done. And so, yeah. But for the Democrats, we all know the answer to the question of why they wouldn't go after Donald Trump in this fashion. And maybe I'm wrong about this. Again, maybe my cynicism is showing through, but I just don't see a situation where this is going to happen, because even though prosecuting Donald Trump would be awesome because, again, he is a criminal, you got politicians that are only thinking about their political careers. All right. Obama's a narcissistic prick that put an end to Bernie's momentum last spring in order to force Biden down a throat. Well, you're not wrong about that. I'm not going to disagree. Fair point. True. Okay. Moving in. One more story for you guys. Republican Party seems to be ripping itself apart following the Georgia runoffs, which just saw Mitch McConnell, of course, lose control of the Senate. Democrats, of course, will now win the House. They'll now have the House, the White House, and the Senate once Trump is gone. And the establishment Republicans, they have one person that they're going to blame. And that's Donald Trump. So it's coming to a head here. According to a report by Josh Kraushaar, the National Journal, you had he wrote this. Emotions running high among McConnell-aligned Republicans early Wednesday after reality of what transpired in Georgia settled in. Maybe the heat of the moment, but mood is for declaring war on Team Trump. Want to marginalize Trump as they marginalized Steve Bannon in 2017. Now, they might have a problem because the Republican Party is the party of Donald Trump. I'm just saying. Trump has massive appeal among Republican voters. Now, it went down slightly following the loss to Joe Biden, but it's still around 90%. Republicans love this guy. And while they may not die for him, they will certainly hurt and kill for him. Hell, maybe they will die for him, given what's happening in the Capitol right now. I mean, they rushed the barricades. They're in the Capitol building. Okay, but interestingly enough, I don't think you see as much force directed against them as you normally would see against people who are BLM or so-called Antifa. It's real strange. Although you did see some of that when the Proud Boys went after the police. That was an interesting moment. So you can see that there's civil war going on here between Republicans that are pro-Trump and establishment Republicans. So that's really interesting. Even in Congress, by the way. In Congress, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, I love saying that, he called the pro-Trump Republican effort to challenge the election certification a democracy death spiral. Here, take a look.
We cannot simply declare ourselves a national board of elections on steroids. The voters, the courts, and the states have all spoken. If this election were overturned by mere allegations from the losing side, our democracy would enter a death spiral.
Yeah, true. So now you've got Mitch McConnell versus Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, Jim Jordan, and some of the usual characters. But make no mistake, right? It's not like Mitch McConnell actually gives a shit about democracy. He doesn't. No, it's about holding on to his power. In fact, McConnell's allies, they told Kushauer that they fear a civil war within the GOP before the 2022 midterm elections that could cost some establishment Republicans their jobs one way or the other. So the alternative, in their view, is disastrous political outcomes in the near term with our primary fights, making the establishment Tea Party fights of 2010 to 2012 look like a picnic. So, you love to see it. You do. You love to see the Republican Party fall apart. Why? Look, here's the thing. They have reached their nadir, all right? The low point. The Republican Party is flying apart at the seams because of Donald Trump. The thing is, Donald Trump is a natural evolution of Republican politics, of conservative ideology, okay? The right wing in America right now has created an alternative reality that has forced the country further and further right in order to match the delusions of the base. And by the worst of the base. All Mitch McConnell wants to do himself, he wants to stay in power and he wants to make money. And he wants to serve the donors. That's what he does. That's all he's ever done. You know, pleasing donors, getting rich, and fucking over poor people. That's what he does great. But Donald Trump, being the logical endpoint of the far right, has unironically destroyed them. Interesting. Lindsey Graham, by the way, before he went all sycophant, he said it correctly. He said the Republican Party would be destroyed by Donald Trump and that they would deserve it. Who would have figured that Lindsey Graham, of all people, would be right on both counts? All I got on that one. All right. Let's see. Let's read some donos here. Michael Pridgeon says, is anyone else going to say that this is domestic terrorism? That's what it is. Sure seems like it. And I'm getting reports now that it was law enforcement that moved the barricades that allowed Trump supporters to get in. Oh, that's an interesting development. Very interesting development here. that's going on. So this is absolute crazy stuff that's going on right now. And again, I'm just checking some updates here. Capitol in lockdown. Let's see. Congress evacuated. All right, so let me switch over here to this. Whoops, wrong camera. All right, well, let's work with it. And I want to get some stuff here up on the screen. So let me just do that. There we go. All right, so let's take a look, shall we? Weird that I'm moving here, but Pearl 77 with the very kind donation says, and then they said Biden would turn America into Venezuela. True, they did say that. They sure did say that. All right, and what do we got here?
The United States Capitol Police in restoring order to the Capitol, and our Chief of Police will lead the command to clear the Capitol building and establish a perimeter around the Capitol. I have requested both the Virginia State Police and the Maryland State Police to deploy officers, and they have engaged immediately to deploy officers to the Metropolitan Police Department to help regain control of the United States Capitol. I have also invoked several days ago a standing mutual aid agreement with our surrounding jurisdictions, and I want to thank them for deploying. Those jurisdictions include Arlington County, Montgomery County, Prince George's County, as well as Baltimore City. We want to thank them for sending their officers in, assisting us with public safety in the district, as well as the response
right now
to the United States Capitol building. Additionally, I want to acknowledge and thank the New Jersey State Police, who will also be assisting the Metropolitan Police Department. So with that, I want to turn to Chief Conte for a situational update. Secretary of the Army will make comments, and we will take brief questions.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oof.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Mayor Bowser. My name is Robert J. Conte III. I am the Chief of the Police of the Metropolitan Police Department here in Washington, D.C. As you are aware, demonstrators came to our city this morning to exercise their First Amendment rights and were largely concentrated in the area of the National Mall. Following the President's remarks, a large crowd began to march eastbound on Madison Avenue Northwest and Constitution Avenue Northwest. As the demonstrators approached the United States Capitol grounds, there was a noticeable change in their demeanor. They breached the fencing along the U.S. Capitol grounds and confronted police lines surrounding the building. MPD was requested by the United States Capitol Police to provide assistance with crowd management, and due to the violent behavior towards the police officers there and their intent on gaining access to the Capitol, a riot was declared. It was clear that the crowd was intent on causing harm to our officers by deploying chemical irritants on police to force entry into the United States Capitol building. As you are aware, they were able to gain access to the Capitol building, and I can confirm that one civilian was reported to have sustained a gunshot wound inside of the Capitol. Details of the shooting are not immediately available, and the situation remains under investigation. The Metropolitan Police Department will be taking the lead on that investigation. MPD continues to provide personnel resources and assistance on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol and has requested the assistance of law enforcement partners through a previously in place mutual aid agreement. As you heard from the mayor, a 6 p.m. curfew has been put in place tonight and will be in effect until 6 a.m. tomorrow, January 7th. We are advising everyone that is not engaged in essential activity to get off the streets and adhere to the curfew. If you are found to be in violation of the curfew, police will be required to take action. Again, I want to reiterate and make it clear, please abide by the curfew that the mayor has set in place, or people will be subject to arrest. Lastly, I know that many of you are familiar with the Metropolitan Police Department. Understand that there is no better agency in the country to handle First Amendment events. They happen on a regular basis here in our city. However, Today's events were not representation of peaceful protests. Today, what we witnessed was unlawful, riotous behavior. And people that come to our city engaged in unlawful behavior will be held accountable. We can take any questions that you may have after the Secretary has a chance to speak.
Holy shit.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser, Chief Conte. At around 3 o'clock this afternoon, we mobilized the D.C. National Guard to 100% strength. We'll have 1,100 personnel that are convening to the Armory as we speak to support Metro PD and reestablishing the safety and the confines of the U.S. Capitol. We'll also be working with other federal law enforcement entities that are going to be coming here to the Metropolitan Police Station to add additional support and capability as they continue deliberate planning and looking at how a clearing operation will be conducted. Thank you.
And how does this work? This phone? Okay. Okay.
It's not a protest, it's an insurrection. It sure feels like it.
Yeah, hi Mayor and Chief Conte. Could you please speak to the confusion surrounding the deployment of the National Guard? We understand that the council put out a statement saying that originally the Department of Defense refused to allow the D.C. Guard to reinforce Capitol Police officers at the Capitol. Can you clarify what happened there?
I'm not sure what statement you're referring to, Evan, but let me be clear. I requested Guard assistance, I guess, 2 or 3 days ago in supporting the D.C.
sort of standing at the side, I guess, two of them waiting for instructions or something, but they may have well made the calculation that those two were not going to stop those people and that there wasn't much they could do, and that but by letting them go through and letting them get into the building, of course, we now know what happened. And so there are going to be lots of questions about this.
Yeah.
Some law enforcement people are already pointing to a letter that the mayor sent yesterday to the acting attorney general, to the acting secretary of defense, and the secretary of the army, saying we have all we need for tomorrow. This was yesterday. We have worked with the Park Police, with the Capitol Police, with the Secret Service.
Sure you did.
Don't send any other federal law enforcement personnel in without checking with us first, because we don't want a situation where there are people deployed and we don't know who they are or who's in charge. So some of the federal officials are already saying, you know, they kept us at arm's length, and that's why it's taking so long to get these people out. Now, you know, we're going to have to wait and see how this all comes together.
Well, I like
how that actually played out.
comment here.
This being Washington, Pete, we will be sure there will be investigations, commissions, and tons of finger pointing and blame shifting.
He's too afraid for his own skin to risk it.
Forward to
of course,
that
he's
in the
bunker
coming
now.
days. But at the moment, we're still in this crisis.
He's in the bunker.
These are live pictures from the United States Capitol. If you're just catching up, it has been
all right. So
truly
what I need to do is I need to jump offline for a bit. I need to get some videos edited and stuff.
Went past police,
but I will
breached
be.
the United
I don't know if
States
I'll be back
Congress
on this
in
channel, but I will be back
performing its duty
at some point.
Certifying the electoral
and so
vote
I got to figure that out.
for the
What I'm
next
going to do
president of the
next. What I'm
United
going to talk about
States.
that.
We're able to infiltrate the Capitol, the Senate floor, the House floor.
Yeah. So this is insanity
ceremonial
that's happening right
offices,
now.
sit in office chairs, literally with their feet up. And now at this hour, about 10 minutes after 5 o'clock on the East Coast, we are starting to see a little.
All right, so everybody, thank you for, by the way, tuning in here. Go back to this. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Again, I will find time to come back and talk more about this stuff, about the developments. And so I will let you all know then what's going to happen. So thank you. We'll see you guys later on around the nation.